Welcome to a new video, the video you're finally waiting for, the Mate 80 Pro Max in my long-term experience report, some might call it review. Let's get started. And even though it's a bit of a cloudy day, we have to start with the gorgeous display that we have here on front. This is a very, very bright display, even in dark conditions. Readability is just phenomenal. 8000 nits is the claimed peak brightness of this tandem OLED screen. And yes, I can tell you, this is the brightest phone that I ever owned. Even in direct sunlight, when the sun is burning directly onto the screen, even with this reflective display, you will always be able to read the display because it's so bright. I don't know the max brightness that it achieves on the whole display when the sun is shining on it, but you see that you can always read it, which is quite good. This is just a phenomenal display when it comes to brightness. The other highlight of this phone is the camera system. We have a large main camera sensor, 50 megapixel 1/1.28 inch size sensor. We have a pretty large 40 megapixel ultra wide angle, but honestly this is the weakest of those sensors on the back. And we have, or one of the weakest, we have a telezoom sensor, also quite large. It's not as large as the Pura 80 Ultra series, but still impressive with its aperture that is quite open, so it captures a lot of light. And we have a second one, 6x telezoom sensor. That is a bit of a tiny sensor, but it helps with photography in getting closer to your subjects. And then I don't want to forget the front-facing camera housed in a 3D face scan. You see it already unlocked because I had my face in there. So 3D face scans allows you to unlock your phone even in situations where it's very, very dark, or you want to do some banking. Use your face to unlock the device and start your banking. Can you guess which sensor I'm using here now on the Mate 80 Pro Max? Seems like a wide-angle sensor, has autofocus. Has also 1x. Which one could it be? Yes, it's a front-facing camera sensor. I had a few comments where I was using this one and some people were asking me, hey, which camera is it? It looks so good. Actually, it's the front-facing camera of the Mate 80 Pro Max. And yes, this one has autofocus as well, so you can show tiny details like the FreeBuds Pro 3 that I have here. Timmy that I have here as well, as you see when I zoom out a little bit. He was pulling right now, and this is why I had to stop suddenly. Anyway, what do you think about the front-facing video? Looks pretty damn good. Also with HDR, if there's a bit of sun going on there, not too shabby. But the highlight for sure is the main camera sensor on the back. RYYB sensor, 50 megapixel 1/1.28 inch size sensor, variable aperture. So we have the ability to make it wide open even if you want to. And of course 4K up to 60 frames per second on all camera sensors, even the front facing one. And we can switch to the ultra wide angle as well, which is very wide. This is the one that action cameras usually use as the wide field of view, which is super, super cool that we have such thing here. It's a smaller kind of sensor, 40 megapixels. If I'm not mistaken, it should be 1/2 inch sized, maybe 1/1.7. No one knows. Huawei maybe knows it. It's a bit of a tinier sensor for sure and struggles at low light, just like almost every ultra-wide-angle sensor there. But nevertheless, it's pretty good. And then we have our telezoom sensors. So first of all, the 4x that you see here, and then we can go to 10x, which utilizes the 6x sensor there. And look how splendid it looks like. Also, the bokeh looks very nice. We can even zoom further up to 30x, and this is also not falling apart. Very, very cool. Let's try to zoom in on the number of this house there that you probably don't see there in the distance, but there in this window up there is a number. Let's go directly to 10x and you will see it now. There you can see it. And I can go up to 30x as you see here. So there you can clearly read the number. Maybe see other details there. So yes, this is a fantastic camera setup that we have here for videographers, and as I told you already in another video that I did, for vlogging, for out-of-the-box shooting, it's a good, very good device, especially all the Huawei devices have this ability running HarmonyOS 6. And then we come to a bit of software. As much fun as I have shooting videos with the Mate 80 Pro Max and photos, it's definitely not the best also in Huawei's lineup. The best is still the Pura 80 Ultra that just has a 1-inch type sensor as main and a very large 101.28 inch size that this one he is using as his main camera as the telephoto sensor. So a completely different beast there for photography and videography. Though I think sometimes here the second telesensor might help out, especially in video, to get in a little bit more details that the Huawei simply cannot do because it has a digitally crop, because its optical hybrid crop mechanism is not working in video, which is a bit of a shame. I hoped they could somehow put it in, at least as an option, even if it jumps a little bit there. Anyway, maybe for the Pura 100 series we will see that. Anyway, we have to talk a little bit about the operating system, and this is the same thing that I already told you about Pura X and Mate 70 Air when I was talking about how to make this run globally. This one is running HarmonyOS, and you see here 6.10 I have now, the latest update there, to date at least. It's getting there. It's getting to a point where I say I can easily use it as a secondary device, but not as a primary. There's still some syncing issues with contacts, for example, and I'm not able to sync to my Nextcloud, or for that matter for Google. I have to manually do it, which is a bit of a cumbersome thing to do. Calendar entries, however, I can sync only in one direction, means like from my Nextcloud server to the device, but I cannot sync them the other way around. What about apps? Android container support via Easy Abroad or the Droid Tong is working fine for the most part. There are some limits, of course. Google specific things like Android Auto, Google Wear or Android Wear, how's it called? And also Google Wallet is not working. I don't have problems with paying. Like from my first Pura X video, I tested out my Sparkassen app, which is the local German bank NFC payment app, working fine. Also on this one here, don't have any issues there with payment. Even this one is using really the let me maybe go here, the 3D face scan that we have there, which is quite cool to see that going. So no issues there with this one. We have this nice feature there. By the way, you can see I have an update for my other devices, for the Pura X and the Pura 80 Ultra. This is the cool thing about Huawei's HarmonyOS. It is fully integrated. So from here on, even though I'm outside, I can just trigger the update on both of my devices. Even though my devices are sitting at home, it will send the update trigger and downloads then on the local Wi-Fi, because they're sitting at home right now, the update for those devices. I used that to also perform an update when I was like on a holiday somewhere else completely. Very nice feature. It shows a little bit the integration of HarmonyOS 6.1 and why I like it so much. The other thing that I like very much is the software with all its nice animations. Yes, we have this liquid glass kind of design that we have here now, which I'm not so fond of, to be personally completely honest with you. But everything else is running fluid. I like the native apps being so quick. I like the camera app. I like the gallery application. Application support in general is a bit limited on the app gallery. It's still Chinese. So for those people who are asking, this is definitely something made for the Chinese market. It is currently only for tinkerers, for people who like to use it as a secondary device, who are interested in Huawei devices. But for that matter, you can use all the stuff. You see, I have a Google folder here. I have my YouTube Studio, Google Maps and other things. I got SMS that I used all my data on my device there. Yes, I have really a SIM card inside there. And all of them are working, as you see here. Even Google Gemini is working without any issues there. And so this is something that I have going. There's many Huawei devices. There are many devices that are only available for the Chinese market. What I really like to use is Celia sometimes. Yes, it is mostly in Chinese, but it has DeepSeek integration. And this can also work in German if I need to. Celia as well. But Celia has very nice features that are quite interesting to use. Like, for example, if I have a calendar appointment that I got via email that is actually not a V-card, I can ask Celia to put it in my calendar, which is quite nice. And other things like translating the screen. If I have, like, for example, a changelog or something that I cannot read, like, hey, I cannot read this. How do I what do I do? I can press with two buttons. First of all, let's go to the text. Press with two hands here until this appears, which is Celia Translation, or Celia Assistant, first of all, that is analyzing the screen. And yeah, I used up all my internet, but it would open up now. There it is. And I can say translate screen, and it will then translate the screen. So translate the Chinese to English in this case, which is quite nice. Huawei's own apps are getting better and better. For example, the video editor and the possibility to create screenshots is quite nice. But the editing application for videos is good. So we can really edit now videos here, simple videos, cut them together, add music, add text and transitions and so on, which is very, very cool. You can also do it automatically if you have multiple videos and create your own little video. The integration to the Android app ecosystem is also getting better. So I have now here, you see, we have the Android applications available here that are containerized running, but there is a share menu now that allows you to share from native to Android applications, which is quite cool. So I can share my files directly to them, which is a very good improvement. And the rest is basically identical to what I was talking about, the Pura X and the Mate 70 Air, if you think about Android or Google app support there. So if you're interested in this one, please check it out. And by the way, I like this animation, so look at it again. Going to the AUD, it's a bit dim lit there, but if I double tap here, you see, and it's unlocking. Very, very nice animations there. We have in general one of the smoothest UIs that is out there. I think this is like battling it with the ColorOS 16 for the smoothest animations on any operating system on a mobile space. So what you actually can see is the potential of this device and its operating system with its clever features, which makes it so interesting. So one example, instead of just bumping two phones together to share files and folders, which is a very cool thing indeed, but what if you're not close enough to do that? What you can do is just this. Look at it. And then I just go to a completely different device and do this, and it's shared over. A very cool feature indeed that is pretty unique to Huawei. But also when you're in the Chinese ecosystem of Huawei, you get fantastic support for Nearlink, for example, which is this new technology that allows lossless audio for over 4 Mbits per second and under 10 milliseconds latencies via headphones wirelessly. I hope I could give you a little bit of a glimpse what is driving me towards Huawei here and the Mate 80 Pro Max. All those nice little features of HarmonyOS 6, now 6.1, the constant evolving, the constant update, the uniqueness that we have in this operating system is what makes it so interesting. Of course, I can also understand if people are just grabbing, I need an everyday phone that works for everything, has all the Google support that I need. Yeah, then grab a Google phone for sure. But I like this one here to tinker around, to check out, to just see, and at one day maybe they achieve a level where I would say, hey, great, I can use it as my main phone as well. Now let's listen to a binaural recording with my headphones on the Oppo Find X8 Ultra and the LL Techview song The Constant Pull, official soundtrack by the way. So
system check, frequency wide, bass, drop, crisp highs hitting like a laser beam, pure mids flowing like a silent stream, feel the pulse steady in the deep, the hardware wakes, no time to sleep, LL Techview, hear the sound, turn it up, turn it all around.
Pretty good sound, loud, bassy, good mids, good highs. One of the bests out there. Battery life is also very important for a flagship device like this Huawei Mate 80 Pro Max. And despite having the larger nanometer processor, slightly older fabrication, but still newer tech in there, Kirin 9030 Pro, we have fantastic battery life. This is a screenshot, 16% left. And you see I was using it one day already and last charged 1 day ago. 6 hours and 59 minutes. This is at 16%. Then I came to the glorious idea to cut and edit a video, and I ended up a little bit, yeah, you see here already, Jinjiang is the CapCut version in China, using so much battery. This is like something that is a bit of an issue. Where you see drainage is when you when you edit 4K 60 frames per second video material in either CapCut or the native editor. It's draining the battery, it's pumping the battery. So I have 7 hours and 30 minutes here and 10%. But I can tell you it is easily a 2-day phone. 2-day phone for sure for me. And screen on time, usually if I don't edit 4K 60 video material, is 10 to 12 hours, in between 10 to 12 hours, which is just simply fantastic for also this little bit of smallish kind of battery with, what is it, 6,000 milliampere hours that we have here, in comparison to the 7,000 and over 7,000 milliampere hours of other Chinese flagship devices that come to roughly the same screen on time, but of course, honestly, have way more performance than this one. But it's not slow. Every day-to-day performance is running nice. Where you see a bit of a slowdown in comparison to a Snapdragon or MediaTek is editing 4K 60 frames per second and rendering it out, which will take a little bit longer, like definitely sometimes even double the time that you need on a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. So long name. Anyway, performance here on this one, no issue for every day-to-day tasks, even recording videos. Editing videos is fast as well. The only thing is like the rendering times is where you really notice that it's a bit of a slowdown. Then we come to charging. If you run out of battery, of juice, charging is super, super fast. I have a wireless fast charging thing here, and you see that this one can charge up maximum 80 watt wirelessly. It has 20 watt reverse wireless charging, which is also quite unique. So fast wireless reverse charging and 100 watt via the USB Type-C port. Of course, you need Huawei specific things for doing that, but it is available and you get a brick inside of the package. By the way, if you're interested in getting the Mate 80 Pro Max, there will be a link down below to the Average Dad Tech store that has this device, and it will come with a 100 watt charging brick included. Verdict for the Mate 80 Pro Max. We have the best display on the market in terms of brightness for sure. We have one of the most interesting operating systems. We have a okay and good enough system on chip here, CPU and GPU, that the performance is good, it's great. We have the best Huawei device on the market right now, including, if I even compare it with the 90 Pro Max, Pura 90 Pro Max that has been released just now. This one has the faster chip, arguably maybe not the best camera setup, but faster chip, brighter display, 3D face scan. This is what I would say is beating the Pura 90 Pro Max as well. We have the fastest chip that Huawei is able to make right now. It is not on the same level as all the other super flagships, but if it would have a faster chip, if it would have software support, this one would be ranked #1 for sure. It's one of the best smartphones on this planet. And with those limitations, you are the one who has to choose. Can I live with those limitations? Am I interested enough to tinker around with this one or not? Like I said, I'm not using it as a primary device. I can recommend it as a secondary device for tinkerers who like to try out new stuff, who like something else than Android, something else than iOS, but still have somehow a bit of Android app support so that you can run your stuff. But be aware, this is something not for the everyday. Like keyboards, we are limited to HarmonyOS keyboards. There are only a few out there, and I think only 1 or 2 that are made for the international market. You cannot install Gboard, you cannot install Microsoft SwiftKey, and this is something that many people were asking me all the time. The same goes for Google Wallet, not working. You have to rely on either Android payment NFC apps from your bank that are working or not. Spoiler, most are not working at the moment, so I'm a bit of lucky that mine is working. And some other limitations that are simply there because this is a new operating system and it is a tremendous effort that Huawei put in, and I'm impressed of what they did, but it's not there yet. It's work in progress, I would say. If you're living in China, it might be a bit of a different kind of thing. I think the pain point of using this in China, even though with the limits in terms of application, it's getting less and less. But here in the West, it's a bit of a larger pain point, and this is why I would not recommend it for everyday usage. But if you're interested in this, nevertheless, as a tinkerer device, as just being interested of what is Huawei capable of doing with their operating system, with their chips, with their devices, then the Average Dad's Tech Store has you covered. It has the option. There's a little discount code as well available. So if you're interested in this one, you can get the Mate 80 Pro Max. Overall, I'm very pleased by this. Very nice loudspeakers here, very nice display, very nice cameras. Overall, a very nice device. If you have some questions, of course, you can put them down below in the comments. And of course, if you own the device, you can tell me your experience as well. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.
Between
Bye.
the old pines and the neon shore, a synthetic